Thanks for joining us again for another edition of COABE's Meet the Author. Today, we're sitting down with Lee Shainis and his article, How We Can Shift the Power Imbalance, Improve Program Outcomes, and Create a More Equitable Society. I'm Shaketta Thomas, the Region 2 representative for COABE, and I am excited to join you here today and learn more with you. Welcome, Lee.
Thank you for having me. My name is Lee Shainis, and I've been the director of a nonprofit based in Boulder, Colorado, called Intercambio Uniting Communities for 20 years now.
Awesome. For 20 years, you have been inside of adult education.
Yep.
That's great. So what inspired you or what motivated you to contribute your work to the COABE Journal?
Yeah, so I've been doing this work for 20 years and I still love it, now more than ever. I see adult English programs specifically as one of the few places where, maybe one of the only places really where people from different nationalities, races, religions, socioeconomic classes, come together and talk to each other every week, building trust, sharing a lot with each other. And these are, microcosms of what the world can be. And a lot of this work moves equity in the right direction and racial justice. And at the same time, I see a lot of untapped potential in our field to move equity forward in other ways, in ways that I currently see our field unintentionally moving it backwards. A few years ago, a local leader of color pointed out to me that part of our mission statement at the time, indicated a power imbalance. And at first I resisted it, like I usually do. But after reflecting more, I was like, wow, she's right. And since then, I've really tuned into how adult education and programs, coalitions talk about our work and our goals, in one directional ways. And if we don't shift that narrative around power imbalance in our field, we're going to continue to perpetuate inequities, unknowingly. Our programs create amazing opportunities for mutual learning, but we often put all of the heavy lifting on our immigrant students when it comes to learning and adapting to the dominant culture. That's what the funding is for. That's what our stories focus on. It's how we measure success. And, we don't want to shift the focus away from our students, but some of that heavy lifting, that cultural learning, that adapting needs to be on us, on people like me who are white, who were born in this country. Our adult students come with a lifetime of experiences, and no matter what their educational background, they can teach us too, if we're humble, if we open doors for them to share perspectives and stories, if we just focus on fixing what our students don't have and what they can't do rather than unlocking, the knowledge and perspectives that they do have, we're missing out on the full potential of these very rare cross-cultural connections. And this isn't just about, teachers being a great English teacher or being a great learner. We believe that by becoming better learners, we can become better teachers in the process too. And part of this, I learned from listening sessions I've done with volunteer teachers at Intercambio. We've had 6,000 volunteers, and a lot of them have said, this program is for us too. We're learning, we're connecting, we're growing, and that impacts our whole community and the biases that exist. And those have huge ripple effects, throughout all the people they know. So those are a few of, there are more reasons, but those are a few of the little inspirations.
And I like what you said, sometimes we have like a little bit of cognitive dissonance when we are confronted with something that goes against the grain of what we think to be true, right? But as educators, we are to be open as we always are learning, which improve upon our practice. So I like how you said that. And that's true. That's true for all of us. Even those of us who may know a culture, we may not exactly know that culture in that element, in that environment. So I like how you put that. It gives us a challenge for all of us to think about putting ourselves in someone else's shoes and actually listening and suspending as we listen. So thank you for that. So what would you like more so for a reader who is an educator or a learner to take away from your article?
Yeah, I see, some micro things being taken away from this article and some macro things. And, I think for teachers, learners, administrators, funders, the first thing is, we believe that this shifting this mentality, shifting the narrative actually accelerates language acquisition, because that's what a lot of people are interested in. So when teachers, bring cultural humility and a desire to learn from their students share more about their lives, their perspectives, they stretch for new language, they speak more, and as they speak more, they acquire the language faster. And, yeah, we need to build the language skills for English learners to be able to have those conversations. But what I've found is that, even lower level students who we wouldn't think are capable of having these levels of conversations can find the words. They can, to share their experiences and perspectives when they're interested, and when teachers create that space to make that happen. And that builds confidence, more than anything. Second, by creating this atmosphere of mutual learning, we increase a sense of belonging. And when we do that, we see better retention, we see deeper relationships, we see deeper cultural learning, and we create this virtuous cycle of things that keep people coming back and deepening those relationships more and learning more. Students feel valued more when everyone in the class wants to learn from each other, and they have opportunities to share their experiences and their different cultural lenses in safe, non-judgmental ways. And then third, the macro thing is, really impacting this bigger issue of equity. We as English programs aren't going to balance the power between English teachers and students, because English is the language of power, and oftentimes teachers come with more privileges than our students. But people who look like me need to be learning too, if we want to continue moving equity and racial justice in the right direction. And these are opportunities where we can learn directly from people who are very different from us.
All right, well, thank you. So my other question, and coming from my correctional education background, and you speak to in the community in different ways that the learner and both the educator can come together and find a mutual connection. How would that translate, do you believe, when we think about different things in corrections and safety and security, but how does that translate to the correctional educator?
Yeah, I mean, it's about different cultures coming together. And actually, I'll share an experience. In college, I volunteered at a prison facilitating creative writing workshops, and that was one of the things that led to what I'm doing today, because I realized that, wow, there's a lot of mutual learning happening here. A lot of the guys in my workshop came from cultures and backgrounds that were so different from mine, and we created that space to share our stories and learn from each other. And I think that applies to any situation where you have people from different backgrounds. If you enter with cultural humility and a desire to learn and not just teach. So.
Right. And then adapting that, what do you think the benefit is to the learner and to the educator?
Yeah, I mean, I think that again, it's going to just create that sense of belonging. It's going to make everyone feel like you're a learner and a teacher. I encourage people who haven't tried this in their programs to just straight up say to their students, look, we're learning from you also. You're teaching us, and we want to learn from your stories and experiences and see what their faces say to you. Because I love saying that and just seeing the students nod and being like, wow, that's cool. I haven't heard that in other programs before. So yeah, I just think it completely kind of shifts the narrative. It shifts the power imbalance. The students feel that, they don't feel as shy and as, I'm not meeting the specific goals. So I don't really belong here, as opposed to, hey, we're learning from each other, and we're going to make this fun and for everyone too.
It takes away that fear, that intimidation, when we show just a little humility, where we don't claim to know everything, but we are willing to learn new things. And it does just break down that wall, that barrier that many of our adult learners do come in with from their previous experiences of feeling inferior in the classroom setting. So that's awesome. What else would you like to share, or any other additional comments that you may have to share with us?
Yeah. I mean, I hope that, this continues more of these conversations. I think this is a start for some people. Some people have been talking about this for a while, but we really can't avoid this conversation about power imbalance. And I love that cultural humility is a theme, throughout this journal. And I've had the privilege of leading or facilitating workshops on cultural humility and cultural competence for 10 years. And I've seen it, really just shift things a lot for people. So I hope we continue talking about that, because it's just at the core of this. And finally, I want to invite people to continue the conversation with me. If you have criticism of the article, if you have ideas, thoughts, I'm very open to all those things. And finally, I want to thank COABE for doing this. It's amazing, the assortment of articles and the perspectives. And also want to thank people who inspired me by speaking truth to me and who helped me with this article. my wife, Marcella, my friend, Anthony, Manuela, Jenny, Arnie, and everyone at Intercombie, all the teachers, students, staff, and board who've been a part of sharing. That's really been important for me. So I invite you to contact me, continue the conversation, and yeah, really appreciate everything COABE is doing.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Lee. And I really did enjoy your article. And again, the article is titled, How We Can Shift the Power Imbalance, Improve Program Outcomes, and Create a More Equitable Society. And you can find that article in our latest COABE Journal edition. Please go check it out. It's full of just great, wonderful ideas to challenge our way of thinking and connecting really with our students so that they don't feel as though they just are coming to something, but they belong with something. I think that narrative, changing that shift is so powerful for our learners to help change not only them, but go out into their communities and really begin all of us to change the cultural dynamics. So thank you so much again, Lee, for joining us here today.
Thank you, Shika, and for all the work you're doing also. Thank you.